Uh, nice. Being a staff engineer is wonderful. You have some agency and ability to pick projects, and you are inundated with useful, important, and valuable projects that will help your business. Projects will fall into your lap from VPs, from product, from customers, and your own deep understanding of the software. Projects everywhere, and not a moment to think. Some of these projects are bad ideas, and that is great. Listen, take notes, understand, and say no. Saying no is a StaffPlus superpower. Unfortunately, most of the projects are going to be great. They will be valuable, interesting, and help the business, and even help your career. Now what? How do you decide which projects to work on and which ones to sadly put aside? How do you silence the nagging fear that you've chosen the wrong project? And what happens if you do great work on the wrong project? Nearly a decade ago, I was in the meeting with the CEO, CTO, and all the lead engineers at a mortgage company. Our CTO was praising people's accomplishments. One engineer was singled out for saving $500,000 on the company's AWS bill, and he beamed. Then the CEO said, "A month?" And the CTO clarified, "No, a year." And the CEO said, "Why are we talking about saving $500,000 a year?" The engineer was crushed. The company was at the forefront of digitizing mortgages. Saving money was the wrong project. The engineer had worked hard and delivered great work, but it was the wrong project and gotten crushed with indifference. This talk is to give you the tools not to get crushed. I will show you how to focus on projects that are valuable to the business. Your company has spent a lot of time and effort to tell you how to filter these wonderful projects. The filter is called business strategy, and it only has 3 good options. Business strategy is how your company intends to compete with similar competitors in a crowded marketplace. Your company is striving to be operationally excellent and the obvious choice, cheap or unique. And that's it. To put it another way, you are either Coke, generic store brand cola, or Boylan's cola. Coke has worked very hard to ensure that everyone knows what Coke is, that every bottle of Coke is exactly the same, and that Coke is everywhere. You know what Coke is, you know what to expect. Coke creates massive demand for cola, and it innovates on marketing, distribution, and quality control, and occasionally on cola. Generic cola has one thing going for it: it's cheap. Some of that cheapness is because they don't spend money on advertising, and some is because they use cheaper ingredients. It's unlikely that many people buy it because it is better, they think it is better than Coke. They buy it because it is cheap. Generic cola lets Coke create demand for cola and races to the bottom to be the cheapest passable cola. It still innovates, though. It innovates on costs, efficiency, but never on cola. Boylan's is a small company that uses pure cane sugar to make cola, and it only comes in glass bottles to keep that cola taste in peak condition. It's not at every store. You might have to go looking for it, and it costs $4 a bottle online. It doesn't try to be cola for everyone. Unlike Coke and generic cola, it is unique, and when that uniqueness is popular enough, it gets copied. Pure cane sugar and glass bottles sounds a lot like Mexican Coke. Once you know where to look, you'll see these strategies all over the place. In operating systems, Windows is everywhere by default. Linux is literally free. Mac OS is only available if you buy expensive Apple hardware. Airlines. The major carriers fly from everywhere to everywhere. Discount carriers will fly to a few very popular places, but as cheaply as possible. And private charters will take you from anywhere to anywhere, whenever you want, for a lot of money. Now, in these examples, unique is synonymous with the expensive premium option. That's because I picked major brands that most of you know. Being unique usually means niching down and offering something specialized. In the land of CRMs, Jobber is a platform for home care businesses like landscapers and power washers. MLOflow is a CRM for mortgage officers, and Dengro is a CRM for dentist offices. Only Jobber offers features to optimize crew routing, and MLOflow is the only one with mortgage calculators, and neither have Dengro's medical record features. They don't compete with each other, and they don't compete with Salesforce. The different strategies value different types of projects. The operational strategy values projects to help you be everywhere and sell to everyone. The cost strategy values projects that cut costs and increase efficiency. Uniqueness values tech and features that no one else has and not everyone needs or could even afford. So which strategy is your company pursuing? I have no idea. I don't work for your company. But here's how you find out. Start by reading the website. If it talks about being a leader, being recognized or number one, that's operational. If it talks about being economical, low cost, or entry level, that's the cost strategy. If it talks about the customers and unique features and how those help to propel their business, those are signs of the unique strategy. But maybe your website's out of date. Maybe you work for a giant work in a subdivision of a giant company whose website doesn't talk about you at all. No problem. There should be recorded town halls and speeches from the CEO and CTO on down. And if you're public, the 10K is a great resource. Finally, just ask. Really, leadership from the CEO on down wants you to know how the business is competing. A major part of being an executive is setting strategy and getting the company aligned. They want you to know. Your strategy is not supposed to be a secret. You should discuss your findings with managers and coworkers. Leaders and managers should also have a vision of how to implement that strategy. The best visions provide a narrative for the next 6 to 12 months. Visions are beyond the scope of this talk, but if you really want to understand what's going on and make someone's day, ask leadership about their vision. You will learn a lot. So now you have a list of projects and you know how your company competes and you're ready to crank out code without fear that you're working on the wrong project. Nah, we're StaffPlus engineers and we don't get to code. We get to have more discussions. Remind me why we got promoted. Now that you have projects and strategy, you need to look at the projects and answer these 2 questions. What are the outcomes you expect from the projects? And are those outcomes in alignment with the strategy? Before scratching off projects that aren't in alignment, check with the project sponsors. Make sure that they agree with your analysis. Do you have the right outcomes? Is there alignment you don't understand? Maybe you've misunderstood the outcomes. Maybe the sponsor pitched the value wrong. I once said no to a Kubernetes migration because the sponsor said it would save $10,000 a year. After discussing alignment, I learned that the Kubernetes migration would streamline deployments and enable auto-scaling. He led with $10,000 because he thought it was a lot of money and that saving money would be a great sales pitch. I said yes to the project and told him to never mention the $10,000 again. The confirmation process will make you strong allies. You will either discover that you didn't understand the project to begin with and gain deeper insight, or you will have worked with the sponsor to get them to understand why it is a great project, but it's still wrong for right now. Filtering worthy projects is hard work. Even after filtering, you're likely to still have multiple projects on your plate. I suggest stack ranking them and having impact discussions. Literally, which projects will have the biggest impact? Which is going to help you with operations, which is going to have the biggest cost savings, or which is going to give you the most unique features. Yes, another round of discussions. Focusing on project value is about alignment and impact. You've discussed alignment, now discuss impact, ideally in terms of dollars. Always show that you understand the value and impact of the project, even if it is the wrong project right now. Strategies change as businesses grow and mature. The economy changes over time, and new companies will enter your market. This past year has seen a huge shift to the cost strategy because of the economic headwinds. Are we done? Can we code yet? Almost. Probably. I have been talking about understanding business strategy so that you can pick valuable projects. Most of this talk has been about the mechanics of going about filtering projects and having discussions. Take a step back, though. You are using your position as a StaffPlus engineer to amplify leadership strategy and messaging. You're discussing strategies with stakeholders and working to get managers into alignment. Your work is amplifying leadership's message. You are spreading understanding beyond your company's formal hierarchy. We don't have time to cover it in this talk, but just let me put the idea in your mind. Amplifying the message makes your work even more valuable. To summarize, you get to choose some of your projects, and you have to choose. And there are 3 strategies: operational, cheap, and unique. Learn which strategy, think Coke, generic, and Boylan's, Windows, Linux, and Mac OS. Learn which strategy your company is pursuing. Remember that the answer will change over time. Don't just jump in. Analyze and spend time talking about projects that don't seem to be in alignment. You may be wrong. Either way, the conversation is valuable. Your discussions will amplify leadership strategy and messaging. This is valuable and important on its own. And yes, you do eventually get to code, maybe. Thank you all for listening. If you want to get in contact with me, I have tons and tons of ways, and I will be at the office hours. Thank you.